In solitary confinement, inmates are kept for 23 hours inside a cell that's approximately 80 square feet. Cells are furnished with a bed, sink, and toilet. Food is delivered through a slot in the door, and each day inmates are allowed just 1 hour of exercise in a cage. For most of the 20th century, a typical stay in solitary confinement amounted to just a few days or several weeks in more extreme cases. Today, it's not unusual for inmates to spend years at a time in solitary. Supporters say the practice helps keep prisons safe, but according to medical evidence, solitary confinement can also take a heavy mental toll. 22-year-old Kalief Browder spent 3 years in Rikers Island, which has been ranked one of the most violent prisons in the country. Reports show that of the 7,500 people detained at the prison, almost 80% have not yet been found guilty or innocent of the charges they face.
And you are Mr. Kalief Browder, is that correct?
Yes.
I was going home from a party.
911 operator 1719, where's emergency?
2 male black guys, they took my brother book bag.
After an unjust arrest at the age of 16, Browder encountered beatings, starvation, and torture without ever being convicted of a crime.
What the fuck is wrong with you, man?
On his first day there, he was beaten by inmates repeatedly, many of which were caught on surveillance video. He was then placed in solitary confinement where he stayed for over 800 days in total. Browder claimed that he and other inmates were pressured by prison guards to kill themselves while in Rikers Island. While doing his time, he saw many other inmates follow through with it. After finally being released from prison, Kalief Browder committed suicide shortly after. Many think that the transition from isolation to the real world was too quick for Browder, making him emotionally and psychologically unstable, resulting in his death. This invokes very emotional responses from many who hear his story.
Jay-Z, you called Kalief a prophet. Why?
Well, we've seen prophets come in many shapes and forms, and we've seen, sometimes tragedy happens for our prophets, Martin Luther King, and, I believe this young man, his story will save a lot of lives. What was done to him was a huge injustice, and I think people will see his story and realize, man, this is going on.
In the documentary about this case, The Kalief Browder Story, the producers are trying to get a response out of the audience. No matter what response they get out of you, they want you to know about the injustice taking place in this story. Keep in mind we only see one side of the story, so we don't know the whole truth, but there is definitely something fishy going on in the justice system here. In response to this story, and many others like it, former President Barack Obama finally banned solitary confinement for juveniles because of the psychological effects for it. This gives some justice to Kalief Browder. May he rest in peace.
If I would have just been guilty, then my story would have never been heard. Nobody would have took the time to listen to me. I'd have been just another criminal.